Well, hello to everybody out there in this great big world. Yes, this is your brother Dana coming to you from the city of Chicago. Shalom, shalom to all of my Hebrew family members. May I remind you that you are royalty. May I remind you that even though on the outside you may not look rich, we know that in the inside you are royalty beyond rich. And it is a privilege and will always be a humbled, grateful honor that the Most High Yah has allowed me to see this and then allowed me to be one from the other side, to recognize who you really are and to live my life the rest of the days that I have, remaining as loyal and faithful to the Most High Yah's Son, Yahshua HaMashiach, and in doing that, serving you, his precious chosen children. You know, I wanted to bring this up and talk just a little bit about the ordeal with Prince Harry and Princess Morgan, or Meghan, I should say. And again, you can see I don't follow all of that so much. But because of the exposure, as it's going to be exposed globally, white supremacy, that is what we are seeing. We're seeing the depth of white supremacy. And this is how deep it is. And this is why it should not have like shocked me. But the depth of racism or white supremacy is so deep in the veins that even an announcer by the name of Piers Morgan was allowed to say a negative racial comment, not only about Meghan and throughout, her term as princess, but about the grandchild that actually has some of the same blood in him as the present queen. That should not shock me that even if you are a princess and have black skin, you are still not above white supremacy. Because see, it wasn't the royal family after this comment was made that immediately in their royal powers. Because see, I was listening and I read that as the current queen, no one is ever allowed to look her in the eye nor approach her. But yet here, this princess, because of her skin color, is allowed to be degraded. And it was the uproar of over 41,000 complaints that caused him to step down from his position. I didn't hear anything about the royal family calling in saying, you will not, because it's the depth of white supremacy. And why that should not shock us is because remember, you, my Hebrew family members, your ancestors were royalty. Your ancestors were kings and queens, and look at what they did to your ancestors. We can't expect them to allow you to take your rightful places back in royalty without a fight. Because remember, prior to slavery, the unknown truth that white supremacy will never teach is that you were royalty. You were kings, you were queens, and you were filled with wealth. And we took it from you and created a kingdom here on earth for ourselves. But now this reign is over. And so you, my Hebrew family members, you are moving into your rightful place of royalty, back to where your ancestors were prior to this current royalty taking your throne. And so I want to even just share this. First of all, look how the seed of Princess Diana, how her seed of kind of rebelling against this royalty and the facade that it really is. We know that she was rejected, but not before her seed has now grown in her son, Prince Harry. That seed of shattering this royalty by leaking in rebellious or undeserving blood began with Princess Diana. Yes, her life was taken, but her seed remained. And now that seed has grown, and it's called Prince Harry, who now, with that same rebellion, has broken into the royalty with the blood of the original kings and queens. See, I rejoice and I think of that because my grandfather told me that our heritage comes from the Ford family. And that as he described it to me, great uncle was Henry Ford, who got credit for inventing the first car. But I've done some research, and he was a little better in the way that he treated his black workers. But one thing that he did is he did lots of research, and he came up with a book. That in this book, it reveals that the Ashkenazi Jews are fake, and that you, my black brothers and sisters with roots in the slave trade, are actually the true chosen people of God. It's called the International Jew. That was the book. But before he could publish that, and he spent millions of dollars back in the 30s to do the research, the U.S. government stepped in and said that if he tries to publish that book, that they would close his business, his entrepreneurship down. And so for whatever reason, that book was never published at that time. And now I look at where I sit today. The faithfulness of the Most High Yah to allow me, possibly his great nephew, to finish the work in speaking out with great honor of who the true chosen people are. And in that, even you, my white evangelical family members, still have a chance. You still have a chance. But unfortunately, the word makes it very clear. There's only going to be a handful of us that are willing to denounce and walk away from the God of Christianity, white evangelicalism, that has ordained, sustained white supremacy. But see, the Most High Yah, my God, our God, is the true living God. And that's why I say you still have time to repent of our wickedness when it comes to our white supremacy, so that you may escape the depth of what's coming. Why? Because just like the Egyptians, if they refused to let the Most High Yah's people go, then the Most High Yah had to step in, and we all know what God did. Well, these are their great grandchildren. And he's coming back for them. And he hasn't changed. And if white supremacy and white evangelicals in America will not release his chosen people, the ending has already been told in Exodus.